All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't touch that dial because coming up next, you know her as our beloved GoGo, but she is a rock star both in real estate and Instagram, a social media mogul. Coming up next, GOGO BETHKE, right here on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. We don't know what we're doing over here. Let me tell you what, when you got somebody that's got a resume like this on the show, you know you got somebody big. C3, just run down that list right there.
All right, real quick,
this is
we'll make it short.
GoGo's resume. She's going to be here in just a second.
Yeah, so in 2003, GoGo came from Romania with $200 to the U.S., and she wanted to build her American dream. She started in real estate in 2011, had no SOI, which is fear of influence, no experience, barely spoke any English, and had $6 to her name. Incredible. That was when she started to build her business organically with the power of social media. GoGo has done $80 million in personal transactions, is a part of the top 3% of realtors in the nation, #1 social media realtor in Michigan, and number 16 social media realtor in the nation. Wow. Known as the social media queen, she has over 60,000 followers on Instagram. Founder of GoGo's real estate team. GoGo has 2 online boot camps, GoGo's Bootcamp and Agent Attraction Bootcamp. The last one awarded with the 2 Award Club. Incredible. In 2018, November specifically, GoGo joined EXP, and since then has attracted 700 agents across. She will be there. 700 agents in the U.S. from Canada, Mexico, and France, including U.S. Today, GoGo is part of the 0.2% top influencers of EXP, and here, some highlights here. She's written an article for Inman, or been highlighted in an article for Inman. ClickFunnels 2 Club Award for the Agent Attraction Bootcamp. Congratulations on that, by the way. Very cool. And voted the top real estate agent on social media in Detroit, Michigan, 2020. I mean, I can keep going for days here, Dad. Do you want me to keep rolling?
Let's bring her on. I mean, we got to meet the real person here. This is absolutely crazy. GoGo, we are so excited to have you here. Welcome to Cliff's Notes.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. The honor is mine. Let me put it that way. I'm so excited to be here.
And I see you got your camera out. Are you actually posting on Instagram now, or what's going
on?
Well,
my camera's always out. That's what pays the bills, right? People are always like, "Oh, just be prepared when you're with GoGo. You're going to be on camera." I should probably work around with a what is it called? A media release form.
Oh, right. Yeah, we don't have one of those either.
Everybody just sign right here, right? Because when you're next to me, you're probably going to be in a video. But, I kind of have to. It's a habit now, right? But when I started initially, that's how I just knew. I had a gut feeling that's how I'm going to pay the bills. And allowing people to get to know you, right? And what you're going through. I always tell our agents, don't be a secret agent, because if I don't put it out there, right? If I didn't put all of these accolades out there for the world, you wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing.
That's right.
So it's my job to put those, as I call it, the shameless self-promotion out there for the world to see.
Shameless self-promotion. That's, it is what it is, right? But isn't it amazing? I mean, and when you look at the social media world right now, it's free. I mean, if you had to have a budget to get on broadcast television or radio, you would never be able to utilize this opportunity. But it's just amazing the access that you can get for no cost to almost everybody. Well, everybody in the world. I mean, everybody in the world that's got internet anyway. Well, let's tell a little bit of the story here, because you've got such an interesting story. Now, first of all, your mom and dad did not name you GoGo. right?
No, they did not. Actually, I don't know if this is gonna flip the image, but I'll show you how my real name is spelled, because that's fun.
And then
The reason I
pronounce
have
it
to show
for
you because
us.
it has some special characters.
Oh,
Can you see that?
wow.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Is that almost looks like Russian, but that's Romanian?
it's Hungarian actually. So I'm
Hungarian.
Hungarian by nationality. I was born in Romania, just to throw you off. I was born in
Okay.
Transylvania, Romania. So my nickname, actually, I showed that one too because that will make perfect sense, right? Okay, right there. That was my nickname. Can you see that?
Ah,
It's
got it.
perfectly nickname. So it's
Okay.
Juju. Yeah. So my real name is Junjivir. My nickname growing up was Juju, but nobody can say Juju either in the US. They can say Junjivir, they can say Juju. So I came as an au pair for a live-in nanny, and my host parents asked me if they can call me Gogo because they couldn't call me Juju. So that's how Gogo came about. When I worked corporate America prior to real estate, they all called me Gwen because HR didn't think that GoGo would be the right name for the job that I had, which was answering calls, right? So I was a secretary. I was like, "Hi, this is GoGo. Thank you for calling NSF International." Wrong 1-800 number, right? So they thought they should call me something more politically correct. So they named me Gwen while I worked corporate America. So you might, if you ever see me, someone yelling the name, "Hey, Gwen," they've known me forever. But when I got into real estate, I asked all of my friends, I'm not a Gwen. No offense to all the Gwens in the world, right? I just don't, I'm not a Gwen. So when I was starting real estate, I was like, I really want to run business under my name, which is GoGo. And they all said, no, that's not a good idea. And I did it anyway. And today we are where we are. That's how GoGo's real estate came about.
And everybody, you're looking down the mountain at everybody else, right? You're at the top of the mountain. How old were you when you first came over here to the States?
I was 21. I came in 2003 and I
Okay.
just turned 21. I was supposed to come with my best friend, and last minute my best friend got cold feet. Well, she met a boy, right? So she stayed home. Let's just put it that way. And so I came really truly alone to this country. I didn't know a single human being. I didn't barely spoke English. I didn't even have money, to be honest with you, to get on that train, to get on the plane, right? But I knew somebody from whom I borrowed $200 because my parents didn't have the money either. And I borrowed the $200 and I came to a country where I didn't know anyone. Even to this day, I don't have anyone related to me by blood on the whole continent besides my two children.
Wow, that took a lot of courage, I'm sure, to just pick up and leave, and you haven't even looked back. I mean, you went over here with the expectation of staying over here, right? I mean, you were committed at 21 years of age to making it work, and there was no plan B, is what it sounds like.
Well, yes and no. I don't think when I decided to come. So I was in college in Hungary, and in my second year, when this all happened, in my third year, I was supposed to pass a very high level English test. And I was like, I don't freaking speak English, right? So I was like, well, the easiest way to learn English is to go live with the one who speaks it. I'll come out, I'll be an au pair for a year, I go home, I pass the exam, right? Well, I also met a boy when I got here. So that's how the story changed, and then I ended up staying. Right? It wasn't necessarily like I was coming for the American dream. I was coming to see America. I had no intentions of staying initially, but if I did, right? So now that I met my husband and I'm here, I have to make. I have to live the American dream. I can't live a mediocre life while I left everybody behind. My parents, my sister. I don't get to, I do very well, but there are times like birthdays, holidays, things like that, that gets to me, right? Like I didn't realize the price you pay for the
Mm.
American dream. It comes at a very high price, right? Like I don't see my parents and my sister and my whole family, right, for years at a time. And so that's costly, but the good thing is America makes up for it. So the
Interesting.
rewards are also wonderful.
So when you got off the plane and took your first step here, that was the beginning of a journey. How about was it what you thought it would be? What were your expectations of this country, and how was it different once you got here?
I guess I didn't realize I've never had a full fridge. Now, don't get me wrong, we weren't starving. We always had food. We just don't grocery shop the way they grocery shop here, right? So my mom would come home from work, and on her way home, she would stop at the store or at the farmer's market. She would buy the fresh stuff and make that for dinner, right? Or she would go to the backyard. If we now they have a house and a garden, now they just go to the backyard. If they need potatoes, they dig it up, they bring it in, right? So we eat different. We don't have, like, I remember opening the fridge for the first time, and I was like, holy shit. Excuse my French. I didn't even know. I was like, what do I try first, right? Like the culture shock. I wanted to try this and I wanted to try that. I gained 16 pounds in 1 month
Oh my
for moving to
gosh.
the US. Because I tried everything, but also my body wasn't used to foods with hormones in them, right? So the dairy here, the meats here, or they give hormones to the animals as they're growing them, or they add hormones to the food afterwards, right? And I was like, I went to the doctor thinking I must be pregnant, but I can't be pregnant. And all of a sudden, like, I had no sexual relations at the time, right? So I didn't have that option, but I was wondering, I'm like, how on earth did I gain 16 pounds in 1 month? And that's how I figured out how different the food is here versus Europe, right? And my
Wow.
body reacted because my body never had the hormones. So, those kind of things are cultural differences. Also, when you go to a restaurant and you order food here, like, everything's bigger in Texas. I can only imagine the food sizes in Texas, right? But the food sizes in Michigan, they feed me like I am a 300-pound truck driver. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they give you a ton of food and half of it goes to waste. So I just feel like the cultural differences, there's a lot of waste here versus in Europe.
Right, right. Interesting. So tell us a little bit about your let's talk about your career for a few minutes now. You said that you were in college. What did you study in college?
You're gonna laugh. Agricultural engineering.
Agricultural. There's actually, do they have a Texas A&M in Hungary, or maybe
So
an extension?
Hungary. So I'm Hungarian from Romania, and they had like the one of the most well-known colleges had a program for diversity. What is it called? People that are Hungarian but outside of the borders of Hungary. So that's how I got in, and that was the program they had that year, is agricultural engineering. But I realized that you can't wear high heels or drink Starbucks while you're checking if a cow is pregnant. So I was out.
That's a writer downer. That's a good one. Okay, that's true. That can't argue with that. All right, and then so had you identified at what point? You said you started out in corporate America, and you kind of just, like a lot of people do, they start out as an assistant for somebody or whatever. At what point in your life did you have the epiphany or the revelation that real estate was where your calling, where you needed to be?
Never.
Never.
Because it wasn't my idea. It was my neighbor's idea. It was a conversation in the end of the driveway. My kids were riding their bikes. My neighbor was walking her dog, and she says, "Gogo, I think you would be such a good realtor. I already talked to your broker. You should go talk to him." And at this time, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, "I watch HGTV. How hard can it be? What a great idea!" Right? So, so I went and talked to the broker. They said, "Hey, if you pass, we'll pay for your exam." So I went, I studied, I passed right away. They even paid for my exam. So I have zero investment into real estate, and it wasn't even my idea. But I'm the sorest loser, though.
A sorest loser. So,
So
but
whatever I
really,
do, I have to be good at it.
but real estate's not an easy business. It's very hard, and it takes a lot. You have to be, because you didn't start with resources, but you obviously are very resourceful. You
Yes,
find what you don't have, or you
I
make.
did. I did the research. So I walked in. I was with a company called Real Estate One, and at the time they were one of the largest privately owned brokerages in the state of Michigan. They were family owned. And I went in and knocked on every single top producer's door, and I said, "Hey, you are a top producer here. Why? What do you do?" And then one of them said, she cold calls every morning. She's there by 7:30, has her coffee, pushes some paper across the table. From 8 to 11, she cold calls. From 11, she goes, meets clients until 3. And after 3 o'clock, she shows houses. I went to the other agent, and he said he pays $4,000 for Zillow leads. And I went to the other agent, and he said he farms an area. He sends out about 800 postcards every single month. That's cost him about about $400 a month, yada, yada, yada. And so I did all of that research, right? And as I like to call, process of elimination, I realize what it takes to make it, but I also realize I'm not willing to do that. I'm
Okay.
not willing to cold call because multiple reasons. A, I have an accent. B, I have my name Gogo, right? C, it's against my religion to beg someone for their business. I just can't freaking do it. I always had the attitude that you're lucky that you get to work with me, even when I never sold a single house, right? So that just was against me. And I want to do things when I get paid for what I enjoy doing. I'm not doing things for commission, right? So then I had to figure out, okay, if I'm not willing to do this, and this, and this, and these are the proven ways, right, in the industry, then how am I going to make a name for myself? Because I am not going to be that 80% of realtors that leave in the first 2 years. So social media was the only thing that I could afford at the time, because now I also had the things that were going against me, right? So I had no sphere. I had no college friend who's going to buy a house from me. I had no cousin that's going to buy a house from me, right? I had no college education. Like, I had no sales experience. I had no money to buy those Zillow leads, right? So all of those things that I didn't have, the only thing that I could think of, I said, okay, who is my ideal client and where are they at? The strangers. And the strangers are on social media. So I started a Facebook business page and I named it GOGO's Real Estate. This was back in 2011. I bet you I was the first one who had a business page, right? Especially here in Livingston County, Michigan. And that's how it started. And I just owned up to the truth. I told everyone, hey, I'm a brand new agent and I'm going to take you on the ride of what it takes to become a realtor, right? And be good at it. And that's how it started. It started with the good, bad, and the ugly. And it started with a lot of pictures and selfies, and agents would make fun of me. I would go to events and they were like, oh, there's Gogo again. She's going to take another selfie, right? But I knew it at my gut feeling always that that's how I'm going to pay the bills one day. And so I just followed my gut feeling.
Yeah, and now those agents
now,
are
like,
they're one of your followers right now.
Right, exactly.
Or our students, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, what was that first year like? I mean, that takes a while to develop the trust over the social media and, for people to get to know you. How many houses did you sell your first year?
I made a whole whooping $16,000.
Off like a herd of turtles, right? Yeah. No, that's
I don't know if it covered my fees for the year, right? And my gas.
Well, were you frustrated? Were you ready to throw the towel in?
I doubled it the next year, but it's still not enough to feed your kids.
Okay. So 1632. Now what
Doubled
happened
it
in year
the next year
three?
was 76, if I remember
Okay.
correctly, then it's 156. So it was, and then it grew from there. But it was a slow start. And what I know today, but I also didn't have anyone to copy, right? Like, I was doing something totally new and I was inventing the wheel and I was pushing the buttons and see what happens if I push it. Today is a totally different game. If I got into real estate with social media today, I would have I would just go and copy that GoGo chick, right? And I would do exactly what she's doing every single day. I didn't have GoGo to copy, right? I didn't have anyone to copy. I was just pushing buttons and see, oh, Facebook came out with this. I wonder if I could do an open house live. Oh, Facebook came out with that. Oh, I wonder if I do that, how that's going to work, right? So it was like that. I had to build the way. Today, getting into real estate today, or really any industry, marketing and social media, you have a million ways to do it. So today is very different. I would just copy someone and paste.
Yeah. So you really, I mean, let's face it. Not only were you a Hall of Famer, but you were also really a pioneer when it came to using social media to build a real estate business. So you and in fact, I mean, you have a heart as big as Texas, even though you're in Michigan. And going on the way to Florida, but you really have a heart for people, and I love it when you say, I don't work for commissions, I work for the sort of the gratitude of and knowing that I'm helping somebody do something they want to do or help them with the largest purchase of their life. So you went on to create education-based products and a platform. Tell us a little bit about what you're involved with now, helping agents learn what took you 5 years. They can now get all of that education really from you. How are you delivering that to people now?
So I think Cliff was earlier, young Cliff, was laughing when we were talking, because how there's a saying, and I always forget it, something that, first they think you crazy, then they ask you how you did it, something along those lines, right? So that's how it pretty much happened. The first few years they were making fun of me, especially here locally when I went to events or they saw me on Facebook, the other realtors, like you ever, that's ever gonna work, right? But then eventually they started asking me of like, Gogo, how do you do that? Gogo, why do that? Hey, Gogo, do you have a minute? And then it got to a point where I would answer the same questions over and over again. And then one day it dawned on me, I'm like, why don't I just record myself? Right? Why don't I just sit down in front of the camera, explain why I'm doing these things or how to do it? And that's really how the bootcamp started. So we call it Gogo's Bootcamp. Initially, it was just a social media course, and it's a literally, I call it your social media house, right? It starts very, very basic, from the basic of understanding of brand and face recognition and how you create that, and then it goes into pretty much everything that I have today, for like all the way down to Zapier integrations, like you name it, everything that I do is a part of that bootcamp. So it pretty much started out with a video based series. So whenever someone purchases, they can just start and finish whenever they like, right? It's a video based series. But the next thing is we do have group coaching calls. So every month we'll get together and then we'll talk. They can ask me absolutely anything. Sometimes I pick someone's website apart. Sometimes I look at their schedule. If they don't have the results, I can show you exactly why, right? You're not following the schedule. Even when you look at my Facebook, you might not feel like it's scheduled. I hope you don't feel like it's scheduled, but it is very scheduled. There's a method to the madness, right? That we only do things that makes us money. And so that's how that started. And then after I switched to EXP, I became really good at agent attraction as well. And that requires also marketing. That also requires a lot of systems and processes in place, right? And then people would start asking me about that. And then so I created another course that's called Gogo's Bootcamp Agent Attraction. And that's the one that we got a 2 Comma Club award for this year. And it's not EXP specific by any means. It is agent attraction, period. So a lot of our students are not EXP. They own their own brokerages or they have teams at other large brokerages. But that's how the idea started, is pretty much just recording myself and my knowledge, putting it into a video so that I can help other agents. And then I didn't want to do it all live in the group coaching calls because everybody's out there hustling and selling, right? So the time that I'm available might be the time when you have to go list that $1.2 million listing, right? And I don't want you to miss out on that. And here's the thing with social media, it's going to take you 5 minutes to post, but it's going to work for you for the rest of your life unless you take it off from the internet. So I don't care when you get it done, right? There is a method to the timing and the day of which time of the day you post, but that's individual to everyone based on their insights. So we'll teach you all that in the course of, like, insights are like the back door of your business, right? When you have business pages, you get to see who's looking at your post, how old they are, how are they men or women, what time of the day, which day, right? So for me personally, my best days and the best time of the day for me to post would be a Tuesday between noon to 3 or a Wednesday between noon to 3. So if I have a big event, then I'm like, we're going to have to push this one. Guess when that's going to be posted? Not on Sunday morning, right? So these are the kind of things that we teach there. And I like understanding things, right? So I usually break it down like from the ground up, right? Because something that comes easy to me today, imagine me 11 years ago, right? So if I talk about your Google Analytics 11 years ago, I would be like, what is Google Analytics? Right? So that's a totally different. So I try to break it down and build it up from the ground up. So everybody just kind of follows. And as you're learning something, you're setting up your own systems. And I usually say, by the time you get through the course, you'll have everything that I have.
So you're really, you're a thought leader in this business. Get your crystal ball out for us, if you would, and tell us a little bit about what you see as the future of social media and how that is going to apply for the typical real estate agent.
So, social media used to be like, oh, I'll do that. Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't feel comfortable on camera. I'll do maybe 2022, right? I'll do it next year. I don't feel like that's an option anymore. Social media is not an option anymore. It's a must. If you don't have it, if you don't exist on the Instagrams and the TikToks and the LinkedIns and the YouTubes, then you don't exist to the millennials and the Gen Zs or whatever those kids are, right? Period. You're going to have a very hard time lead generating if you don't have those sources. So I don't think it's an option anymore. Where it's going, in my opinion, I think we're going to have more of the three-dimensional experience, like the world, right? Like the EXP world that we get, where you get to log in and you could have maybe your Team GoGo office and your agents can come in as their avatar and you can create it. Did you know you can buy meta land in the new Facebook meta world? Like you can literally buy land, which is, by the way, millions of dollars, but it's only the size of a football field now. So hopefully they grow that bigger where we can all buy our land. But in my opinion, it's going to go into that where you just have to have all of these systems figured out for your own marketing purposes. If not, you're going to have to rely on those third-party companies who do. and then you're going to buy leads.
So, but third-party companies really don't know the business. They kind of guess, right? And it's really
yeah, but they're good at data generating.
They are.
Yeah.
So how many real estate leads a month should the typical realtor be generating through social media?
Well, it's, you know how this works. So it's not about it is generating too, but it's also your ability to turning them into a client. Because I could generate you 10 leads and you could turn 9 of them into a client, right? And or I could generate you 100 and you turn none of them into a client. So really, in the end of the day, it's not about, it's both, right? It's the quality of the leads as well, but also your ability to turn that cold lead into a client. Now, here's the thing. I don't do leads the way you think of leads. I've never bought a Zillow lead. I never worked with a cold lead in my life. I don't have a listing presentation because I don't need to have a listing presentation. The people who decide to work with me, they know they want to work with me before I ever step the foot in on the door. So I don't need to convince you to choose me as your listing agent because you already called me, you want me to list your home, right? So I teach something totally different. I like to call it fishing, right? My goal is not to hand you 10 fish and you maybe can eat one of them, right? My goal is to teach you how to fish. Because social media is also going to change. The way I did things in 2020 is not how I did it this year, and certainly not how we're going to be doing it in 2022, especially now that this Facebook meta world is coming out, right? So in my opinion, what I want every agent to understand is I want you to learn how to feed your family. So you never, ever, ever have to worry about, oh, Facebook changed, or oh, Zillow, or oh, the this and the that. It doesn't affect my life whatsoever. I don't look at those things because I learned how to fish for myself. So my goal, even though in the boot camp we'll teach you, I teach organic social media because I never ran an ad myself in my life, right? So I will teach you how to do it organically, which means I don't throw money at it. And these leads reach out to you. When you build your systems, they will come to you. You just have to stay consistent, right? But also in the course now, you can do it with ads as well. After your systems are built, what happens if you throw $5 at your own Facebook, right? That $5 a day could get you 10 leads, and now you just sit back and work it, right? And then you learn how to feed that into your KV core. So my goal is not to, I don't look at those other companies and I don't follow what they're doing. I don't care, right? It doesn't affect my life whatsoever. What I do care is to follow the technology and where that's going when it comes to social media, because that would affect my life if I didn't stay on top of it.
How do you determine what content to post and what not to post?
Well, here's the thing though. I always teach the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? You guys, did you see me without my front teeth? I think I actually saw you in person without my front tooth, right? Yeah, so I didn't have a front tooth for 8 months. And I'll tell you, I had a pity party for 3 days because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the social media queen of real estate. I'm not going to have a front tooth for 8 months. Like, what are we going to do, right? But by allowing people to get to know you, right? So you can't just do that. This is my newest listing. We're going to have an open house at this house. Here's the key. We just closed, right? You can't do those things. Nobody cares, right? People in average are on the market every 7 years for 6 months, which means you're going to have to entertain them for 7 years before they buy or sell again. Right. And it's not just real estate. I think a lot of realtor success is really these 6 inches between your ears. I would say 90% of your success is mindset. Does social media come in? Yes. But in my opinion, if you're not going to roll out of bed today or you're not going to show up at the open house because your cat had diarrhea, that has nothing to do with social media. That has to do with your work ethic and your mindset. Right. So a lot of that is in my course as well, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't have the attitude and the mindset and the work ethic and the hustle. Right. So we teach a lot of that as well.
Speaking of self-development, where do you draw a lot of what you believe in and your processes and thoughts around self-development? Who's your guru?
Yeah, I love, well, for me, it started with Oprah, right? So this whole soul searching thing in my 20s, when I kind of was like, why am I on earth? And do I have a purpose? Like, am I serving a purpose here? Like, am I just waking up and going to bed, right? So it started with Oprah. She had a thing on Sundays called Super Soul Sunday. And then she had another thing what was called Mastermind. And I just watched every single master class. And I watched every single episode. I just loved it. I love learning from others. I love reading documentaries. I love understanding how a person got from where they started to where they at and what are the life lessons in the middle, right? And then, so I do a lot of that. But I do believe that proximity is power. And by that, for me, that means I have to go to these events where I can be elbow distance from the people that doing where I want to go, right? I also believe that it's much easier to get there if those people can just show you the way, right? So you're the average of the 5 people. Surround yourself with the people that already at where you want to go, right? Or past that where you want to go, because that means they've been there, done that. They can show you exactly how to get there. So I am a firm believer that you must invest into yourself. I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in my life, right, in self-development. I read a lot of books. I Google a lot. I YouTube a lot. So every day, it's habits and we are creatures of habit. So when I wake up and I put my makeup on, before I even start walking towards the bathroom, my finger is on YouTube. And YouTube has, the artificial intelligence, the AI knows what you like and just going to give you the next thing, right? So as soon as I wake up, I go to YouTube, I push the button, a video pops up. I'm like, okay, it's usually something mindset, something inspirational, some, goal casts or the videos that I love watching, right? So something just like that will pop up. And as I'm putting makeup on, I'm listening to a video like that. So I don't waste time. If I can, you can ask my husband, he'll tell you I'm the lamest person on earth, because if I could choose between a party and a documentary, I will choose a documentary 100 times over.
What do you listen to when you're driving a car?
Used to listen to podcasts. Now I don't have that luxury anymore because now I'm back to back phone call.
Ah, okay. All right.
But if I have a minute, I would probably listen to a podcast or a book.
Okay. I'm going to ask you something off the wall.
Yeah.
What are the last 3 things that you ordered off of Amazon?
I hate online shopping. I know that's going to throw you off, but I can tell you what my husband ordered.
I thought you had a Amazon page for people to get your products from.
I do. So everything that I need for, I can probably pull that up. We'll probably got one of these things because I hate the big lights, right? But I like the little ones. So I'll just put this little circle thingy right on my laptop so I can just walk around with it and it fits in my purse. So I'm always ready for a video. We just created the whole store. So all of these gadgets that I use is in my Amazon store, right? But I don't have the patience for online shopping. So I couldn't tell you the last time I bought something online.
So what do you go to malls? Where do you have a shopper that shops for you? How do you do it?
I just told my husband, so we just had our 18th anniversary and he took me to Somerset Mall. And in Michigan, that's our only fancy mall, right? So he takes me to Somerset and we are walking around and I looked at him and I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. When we were broke, I needed all of these things and we had no money to buy it. And now I have all of this money and I need nothing. I bought nothing. We went to the mall, we got a Starbucks, we went to Restoration Hardware, we sat down on that couch cloud that is the most comfortable couch on the freaking earth, and we sat there for 2 hours, enjoyed our coffee. The lady in the store probably thought we were kooks, right? And then we left. We went for dinner. So I just had this conversation with my husband. I need clothes. I don't have time to shop, but if I had to choose, I would go shopping in person. Versus, I like to touch things and try them on, and but I don't have the time.
You don't have the time.
And when I had the time, I didn't have the money.
So what is it like? How do you survive that life work balance and manage time? You have beautiful children. You're a great husband. You're a mom. You're a wife. You're a mentor to all your agents, and an outstanding agent in your community. How do you run the the GOGO calendar, I should say?
Can you see that?
I see that. Yes. Yeah.
So it's literally back to back to back all day, and this is what needs to change in 2022 because I worked so hard for that time freedom, right?
Right.
Does that look like time freedom to you? Because it sure doesn't look like time freedom to me. It looks like back to back. So what I try to do, I work from home, so that's the luxury of it, right? So my husband lets me sleep in because I'm naturally a night owl. I go so fast all day that I can't just fall over and go to bed, right? So I need to slow down. So which to me, it's usually 1 a.m., but I also like my sleep. So then I usually wake up about 8:30 in the morning. So he lets me get that 8.5 hours of sleep. And so he'll take care of the kids in the morning. He takes them to school. Then we wake up, we work out. About a half an hour workout is what I can squeeze in. And then the day goes on. And I'm usually back to back to back to back until 5 o'clock-ish. every day. And then I come upstairs from the basement, and then we'll cook and listen to some music and, spend some time with the kids, and we do some homework or we have friends over. But most of the time there are 4, 5, 6 days in a week that I never leave the house. Right? So that's going to change. That's going to change in 2022.
Yeah.
And at night, sometimes I have podcasts, or I have on Wednesday nights, every night I do what's called the Why Not EXP. So last night I literally worked until 11 p.m. from 8 in the morning.
And you have another podcast to hop on right after this one, I believe you said, right?
Yes. Yeah. So my days are back to back right now, and that's going to change in 2022. But I don't want people to think that you don't have to put the time and effort in, right? In my opinion, there isn't such a thing as overnight success. Like by the time you learn the Michael Jackson's name, right? He was that baby that worked for 30 years before you ever heard his name first, right? So, the overnight success, even on social media, it's going to take time. It's going to take consistency, and you're going to have to put your time and effort in. But right now, if I never worked again, right? If I don't roll out of bed, most of my income is passive. I have a lot of affiliate income that's coming in, and then through EXP we have revenue share and all of those things. So now I'm at a point where I no longer have to work. Now I get to do what I love. So now, because I love it, I overwork myself, right? Because I love people and I want to give everybody the time of the day. So now what I have to learn for myself and my family's future is so I can truly enjoy the fruit of my labor, is to learn to say no.
What's the single biggest mistake that you see agents getting into the business making?
Oh gosh, I mean, probably listening to the old advice, right? Like I just didn't, and even the old advice to me was 11 years ago old, but they still giving the same advice today. They're still giving the same advice of like, you have to cold call, and you have to do the for sale by owners, and you have to buy leads, and you have to door knock, and you have to farm an area, and you have to know your scripts, and all of those have to, which in my opinion, if you just took a quarter of the time that's going to take, and you learn how to build a brand for yourself, and every time you close a deal, I don't know, throw 10% of that to ads, you're going to speed up the process so much faster. But I feel like, so many agents been in the industry for so long that 90% of the agents, that's the advice they're giving because that's the path they took, right? And so we keep doing the same thing over and over again when there is a way and time now. The time that we live in now with technology is so much easier to do, but we just don't have so many agents who've done that they can teach it to the new agents. So I feel like we're recircling the good old same information. So I hope that the new agents that joining today, and also it's a little different. When I joined 11 years ago, the average age of a realtor was 63 years old. I was about 30 years younger than the average realtor in our area, right? I was 29 when I joined. When I got licensed, all the agents in the office were 50, 60, right? Now it's changing. Now we are getting a lot of new young kids, right? And so in my opinion, even though that's the advice they're getting, because they know technology and they grew up in technology, I hope that they naturally are going to find another path that's quicker.
Yeah. I think C3 and I would totally agree that what's going to separate really the superstars from the average agent going forward is how they embrace technology and 100%. Apply it in their business.
We see that now. Yeah, we see that now with our team now. So.
We do.
Yeah.
GOGO, gosh, this time has flown. I'm going to ask you one last question, and then I want you to tell people how they can get a hold of you and learn more about your boot camps. But the last question that I'd like you to answer is, what is your legacy? How do you want to be remembered when this is all over and done?
I actually just had a meeting prior to this with my tax attorney, and we were talking about a nonprofit. It's time for me to start a nonprofit organization, and I can't wait to do that. To be honest with you, there's two different causes, right? I want to teach. I want to change lives. Like, I love nothing more than shaking people out of their reality and waking them up and showing them that you are born in America. This is the best country you can ever live in, right? The only reason I know that is because I was born into communism. So I have something to compare it to. Most people have nothing to compare it to. So they just wake up and lollygag through their life, right? So my goal is to wake up as many people as I can. But through the nonprofit organization I start, I want to teach English to other countries. I'll start that in Romania. The reason why, I believe that if you learn this language, like, guys, I didn't speak English until I was 21 years old, and English is my third language. right? So if I can learn it and I can, in a world where I don't know anyone and with an accent, I can build multiple multi-million-dollar businesses, then anybody can do that. But I believe in the other countries, if I could go home, right, and teach those kids to learn English now, not when they're an adult, right? Like they could go so much further in life. So I want to teach English. And then also my oldest son is type 1 diabetic. I want to find a cure. So I want to take my hard-earned money and invest it into a nonprofit organization where I know where the money goes, because the American Diabetes Association only spends 2% of their income on research for a cure. 98% goes for research to better life with diabetes. And I don't know a diabetic person who wants to live with diabetes, right? So I will have requirements for that. Anybody who works for that will have to be diabetic or have a diabetic child, type 1, because I feel like if you have that close to your heart, you will find a cure, right? So things like that. But in the real estate community, this is what's close to my heart, right? Is branding, is marketing, is building your own empire, is having the right mindset, is rolling out of bed with the right intentions, is helping more people. Because you know the saying, you can have absolutely anything in life, the more people you help to what get they want. So if I can have millions, right, like how much better my life is going to get. So I see myself, like, don't laugh, but I see myself as a girl, a mini girl version of Tony Robbins. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
That's powerful. Yeah.
I just got the chills.
Yeah, it sure is. And you're well on your way. How many Instagram followers do you have now, GoGo?
60,000.
60,000. Yeah. And what about on your other, that's your big channel, right? Yeah,
that's the one I use the most. It automatically feeds to Facebook, but Facebook is not that high, and on LinkedIn you can't even see how many you have. So I don't know.
That's just incredible. Well, if I'm sure there's going to be folks in the audience that would love to connect with you. What's the best way to ping GoGo these days?
DM on Instagram.
Yeah, GoGo's Real Estate on Instagram. That's the only account that I don't have virtual assistants on. All of my emails and all of my other accounts, I have virtual assistants, but you can still get to me, but through them, right? So if you want me directly, it's GoGo's Real Estate on Instagram.
Wow. Any final thoughts or words for our audience today?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's my absolute honor. All of these opportunities that I get, it's all for social media, right? You wouldn't know me if I didn't put myself out there. So I want everyone to learn to be comfortable in front of the camera, right? And just put yourself out there, because that is your marketing and it's free, right? So thank you so much for having me. And then just to cover very quick, the boot camps, if anyone interested of learning social media marketing, the GoGo's Bootcamp, it is Realtor specific, but we are coming out soon to, it's going to be called GoGoPreneur. So it's pretty much just going to be entrepreneurial marketing for any industry, right? But right now the training is Realtor specific. So that's gogosbootcamp.com. If you want to learn how to attract agents, which, as you said earlier, I personally attracted over 150 agents in my front line and over 700 in our organization, plus my husband's, that would be gogosbootcamp.com/AA. That's the agent attraction course. So if there's any way that I can help you and you would like to become our student, we would love to have you.
That's awesome. And if you want to visit on Facebook and put those the contact numbers down in the notes there, that would be great. And also this will be on YouTube as well. So I'm just super stoked to be able to talk with you today with C3, and I guess we'll see you again. Are you going to be
Puerto Rico?
Maybe, I don't know. We got several trips planned, but I'm sure our paths will cross again soon. If nothing else, we'll be in
Cabo in March.
And then let's see, is it Fort Lauderdale, back to Shingle Rose, and Orlando, EXP shareholders after that. So anyway, super stoked to see you, GoGo. Give our best, all our love to the rest of your family, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Would you agree right now to come back for a 6-month checkup from the neck up with us?
Oh my gosh, I would love to every year.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Sounds terrific. All right, we're going to let you know. I know you got to hop on another podcast, but thanks again for being with us today. Really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you, GoGo.
C3, another
man.
Hall
She's
of Fame. I'm telling you, she is
a force to
contend with.
Yep.
Yes, no question about it.
Well, what do you say about the Cowboys, Mr. Freeman? We have a game.
The Cowboys. I don't know. We better talk with our spiritual guru real quick and check in with Travis. Travis, you got any numbers for us?
So they play the Washington football team. They have a really good defense, so I wouldn't expect it to be a high-scoring game, but I do expect a dub. How about that?
It's not going to be a hockey game, is it? No.
It might. Yeah. It might be a 6-7er. I'll tell you that.
It could be, but
just never know.
My prediction is saying that the Cowboys steamroll the not the Skins, but the team.
Yeah.
And it's going to be brutal out there. It's going to be a bloodbath.
From your mouth to the football guy's ears.
Number 4 and 21. I'm telling you. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here today. We love doing this and hope that it's impacting your lives. Feel free to reach out to us as well. You got GOGO's information. You can ping us right on Facebook or YouTube or all kinds of ways, right? I mean, you can find Instagram. We're everywhere. And let us know if we can serve you in any way. And in the meantime, let's see. I guess we'll be back next week here. We're getting close to, we'll be out Christmas week. We're going to be skiing in the mountains, but we got another show here or two, I believe, before we head out.
We got one more left.
One more left.
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Next week, and then we're off
adios,
to Aspen.
Off to Aspen. But anyway, so we will see you next week. You guys have a great rest of your week. Much love from Lincoln Center here in Dallas, Texas. We'll catch you next week on Cliff's Notes. All right, folks, tune in to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee it!